Screencast 13. Executing an AX query in a data method. In the previous screencast, I created a data method called getPlayerData, and I bound a dataset to it. And then I used that dataset in a design. And if we look at the code for getPlayerData, I just dynamically created a data table, added columns and added rows. Now, I mentioned in the previous screencast that I could create a data method that would actually go and get data from AX. Now we can get, of course, a query directly just by creating a new data set and setting the data source type to query. But I'm going to go and do the same thing but in an indirect fashion. I'm actually going to write a data method which programmatically will run a query. Okay? So we'll do the same one, which is actually cust_table SRS, but this time I'll write it in C# code. And it's very simple. First, let's create a data method. Double click on it, and I'll rename it to getCust_table SRS. Okay? And it needs to return a system.data.datatable. And now the question is, what do I do? How do I get a data table from AX now? So first of all, let's just create a variable to hold the results. This is very simple. I'm going to type it out fully. Microsoft.dynamics.framework.reports.axquery.executeQuery. And what I'll type in is exactly the same syntax you saw and that you're used to. Select star from cust_table SRS. And I'll return that data table. Okay? Let's build it to make sure there are no errors in the business logic. Build succeeded. Now let's create a data set. Add data set, and I'll call this cust2. We'll change the data source type to business logic and change this property, the query property, to getCust_table SRS. There you go. And in fact, you'll see the same columns showed up. And then we will just drag this into AutoDesign, set the layout template, set the style template, and preview. And again, we see the parameter because that these parameters are shared across all designs in the report model. And there we have it. It's the cust data, except now we're programmatically executing the query. And some of the things you can do with this technique are execute the query and play programmatically with the ranges. So it's a very interesting technique, and you can process the data, modify it if you need to. And this is something that we'll leverage in future screencasts. Okay, that's it for now. See you in the next screencast.